فإن آمنوا بمثل ما آمنتم به فقد اهتدوا وإن تولوا فإنما هم في شقاق.
بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سار سبيله إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. So again concerning the topic that will be covering concerning matters relating to ilm, regarding concerning identifying the excellence of ilm and the excellence of the ulama of Islam, and also some other matters pertaining to this. And because of this topic, you find various books have been written regarding this particular topic regarding ilm, and you'll find that of the books of old, that they will generally discuss concerning the virtue of the ulama and bring various texts regarding this particular matter, where you find some of the ulama or some of the mashaykh of contemporary times that they have somewhat discussed the same concerning discussion, but also they have kind of somewhat in more so discussed concerning ways concerning, as some of I've mentioned, indeed concerning qawahid fi ta'amul mal ulama, which is more of concerning a topic that needs to be covered and discussed. We're not just discussing the excellence and the virtue of the ulama and knowledge, but also what have been somewhat discussion regarding concerning, as they mentioned, qawahid fi ta'amul mal ulama, regarding certain principles and guidelines regarding how we should operate with the ulama. As sometimes of in more contemporary time, in more contemporary time, and also of before, regarding concerning it have been somewhat the approach regarding to the ulama, that you find people either go to one extreme, those people concerned the ulama, that they don't per se give them any attention and listen to anything that the ulama have to say. They just do operate on their own accord, and because of this concern, you find that, and with this also they kind of somewhat belittle the position of the ulama and concerning matters relating to ilm. So that's concerning one extreme. Then the next extreme regarding those people concerning with the ulama, they have gone overboard. Now they've gone to a different extreme where that they do have some respect for the ulama, but sometimes they go to the extent where they kind of somewhat have elevated the ulama to a position of concerning nabuwa, to a position of prophethood. We're concerned that alim, who is bashar, nam, wa yukhti wa yusib, that sometimes that may even fall into error. Nam, but they can somewhat have elevated that alim out of honor and respect and love for the alim that we should have. But also it goes as that it reaches a level concerning with a person that they have elevated the alim to the place where whatever he says is taken. Everything that he says is taken. It is taken without any question being asked. And to ask and question, or to ask for dalil, or to ask for more clarity from the alim, that's taken as being disrespectful and going against concerning having love for the ulama. But concerning Ahlul Sunnah and the ulama, with Ahlul Sunnah, that no matter concerning it has principles and guidelines regarding that. The alim should be respected, but also not placed upon the to the rank or to a position where they're taken of someone who everything that is said is taken. Now, and you find various groups concerning, you find concern of the issue concerning Al-Rafida, Al-Shia, that I went overboard regarding the people they seem as A'imma. So the people of ilm amongst them, that they raise their status, where those people come like some form of God-like, prophet-like figure. So the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah is a more medium, middle path, a more balanced way regarding the ulama to be respected. All try to have a link with the ulama, to consult them on matters, especially concerning time of fitna, or things that we do not know, and to benefit to sit in their halaqatul ilm. So inshallah ta'ala, in this particular discussion, we'll try to somewhat to more discuss concerning those particular matters regarding the relationship, that kind of somewhat the relationship which I have with the ulama, where we don't per se go overboard. Naam? Clear? So as we know in general concerning position or concerning, and you find that so you find that many of the ulama have written regarding concerning ilm, and I think some of the previous lecturers that they have discussed concerning ilm and the virtue of ilm and the status of the ulama, right? I think so. That was somewhat so. Yeah, that particular matter been discussed concerning the ulama. So of those things that we can somewhat first move into. And there's many texts to prove concerning the virtue of the ulama. As the Prophet Islam have mentioned concerning al-ulama, warathul anbiya, that the ulama, that they are the inheritors of the prophets. Now, so this shows concerning that the ulama, that they have raised in status because of that responsibility and that duty that is upon their shoulders, which is they're continuing to carry the light of the Anbiya, which is to kind of somewhat to propagate concerning teaching the people about the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to teach the people concerning the ahkam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's concerning their responsibility first and foremost, to encourage good amongst the people by teaching the people the Sunnah and Islam, and also to caution the people against evil regarding those things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all to be things that are evil and detrimental to the life of the Muslim. So the ulama, their position is somewhat well established and known regarding most, that their position, that it is somewhat as in the hadith of the Prophet Islam mentioned in Sahih, where the Prophet mentioned, Inna Allah la yantazi' ilm intizahan. The husband does remove concerning ilm immediately. Lakin ينزل علم بقبض العلماء, but ilm it is removed by the death of the ulama. حتى لا يبقى عالما, until they don't remain an alim. اتخذ الناس رؤوسا جهال, until the people they start to elect people who are as their leaders who are juhal. فسهلوا وأفتوا بغير علم. So those people who have been placed in those positions of great responsibility of being people to lead others. And with Islam concerning, the leaders are concerned as concerning the people who are have responsibility concerning those people who are ulama, those people who lead the people more so regarding matters relating to ad-deen. So the ulama, the people have taken upon the people who are their leaders to guide them. And they mention concerning more so regarding, they mention فَسُهِلُوا وَأَفْتَوْا, that those people, their question concerning deen is put to them. So those people look to them as people that they can return back to as a reference regarding matters relating to deen. So they ask them, Suhilu wa aftaw. So when they are questioned, that those people who are because of them in that position, they do respond. But the thing is that they are what? They describe as ru'asa, they are juhal. Ittakhadha an-nas ru'usan juhal. The people have selected people, but those people they are in reality juhal. But the people are unable to distinguish between the alim and the jahil. So they elect certain people to act on their behalf, not knowing the proper criteria regarding who's an alim in truth. And that we'll find in today's time. Many people wear the garb of a person who's supposed to be an alim, but reality the person is opposite this. Is opposite this. So the people, so the people that they ask, those people were after, and those people they do respond. Those people they do respond. So they give concerning a religious verdict. فَضَلُّوا وَأَضَلُّوا. So in reality those people, they misguide those people, and they themselves are misguided. So it's like the blind, as they say, the blind leading the blind. So matters concerning deen, it is not left up concerning that. The people who are placed in certain position, we have to ensure that they are the right people, especially concerning matters of deen, and giving fatwa. So this shows the seriousness regarding this particular matter. Kama qala al-Islam, in the hadith that we have just previously highlighted, that require people who are people of ilm. People who are people of ilm. If we do not have per se the right people of ilm, then we are more prone to be destroyed. Imam Malik rahimahullah, Malik ibn Anas rahimahullah, قال, regarding concerning the importance concerning being able to identify the ulama and the correct ones. قال لا يأخذ العلم عن أربعة, that knowledge is not to be taken from four group of people. Knowledge is not to be taken, لا يأخذ العلم عن أربعة, not to take knowledge from four group of people. صفي معلن صفا, that a person who's one is a safi, a person who's like, we said a word, don't use the word stupid, but a person somewhat foolish, somewhat similar. But a person who's somewhat foolish. And sometimes they might say in a more diplomatic way, the person, they say dense, a little bit thick. But it's a bit a person who, he doesn't understand, he's not of a person who is a person, a thinking person. Or a person can think for himself. So the person is somewhat a little bit dense, thick, and the like. So the person don't take from them knowledge. Even though if the person present themselves as such as a person of ilm. Also mentioned sahib al-hawa. Yud'a nas ilay. A person of hawa, a person of desire. Nam, so the person who is one of desires, he likes to call people to what he inclines towards, the thing that he desires. A person who have that description concerning calling people to things of desires and inviting people towards those things, they leave him. Such a person is a sahib al-hawa. So that person is not to be taken as a reference regarding matters of ilm. Rajul ma'ruf bil-kadhib. And the third is a person who's ma'ruf bil-kadhib. The person is known to be a liar. He lies. Fi hadith al-nas, or fi ahadith al-nas. Regarding his discussion and things that he says about people, his narration about the people, he lies. وَإِنْ كَانَ لَا يَكْذِبْ عَلَى رَسُولِ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. Even though he may not lie about the Prophet Islam, but he is known to lie amongst the people regarding the general conversation that he owes with the people. So he's known to lie regarding general discussion, but regarding matters about the Prophet Islam, he does not lie. He's somewhat more, he takes this matter more serious and more cautious regarding lying upon the Prophet Islam. The Prophet said, "Man kadha alayya falyatabawwa al-ma'khadha min an-nar." The one who lies about me, he should take his place in the hellfire. So the person is somewhat, he knows to draw that line. But with the people, he's somewhat more loose and will lie amongst the people. Rajul, they mentioned the fourth. Or Rajul, lahu fadl was salah. A person is known that he has some virtue, was salah, and some excellence. La yaraf ma yuhaddith bi. But this person, he doesn't know what he narrates. He's able to distinguish what to be put or what to be said to others. So he's unable to distinguish what he should say to the people and what he should not say. Nam. So that person, even though as an individual, a person, he does show some degree of concerning piety, iltizam bis sunnah, salah. He signs, as a person, he shows the sign of sunnah and piety to a degree. But regarding the things that he utters, the thing that he says, he doesn't per se make any much distinction. So the person, we do not take from them, as in the statement of Malik ibn Anas. As mentioned by Ibn Abdul Bar, rahimahullah. So it shows concern that a person regarding whom we take from, we have to have some criteria and make certain distinction regarding certain people. We can't take from them. Sometimes that person is known just to be a liar. Sometimes a person is known to be, from what is apparent, to be a person who seems to be upright, but he's not cautious regarding the things that he says. And that today has concern of the fitna of the people whom they say that of the people mutadayyin. The people who gonna somewhat wants to be upon the sunnah, wants to hold to Islam, but sometimes of the people who represent the voice that there are people who are not to be there. Also, Ibn Abi Hayyan at-Taymi قال العلماء ثلاثة. So just now mentioned people we should not take from. To give an idea concerning what are people we can actually now benefit from the ulama. Mention al-ulama ثلاثة. The ulama, that there are three groups. And this is a statement of Ibn Abi Hayyan at-Taymi. He mentions عالم بالله وبأمر الله وعالم بالله وليس بعالم بأمر الله وعالم بأمر الله ليس عالم بالله. Try now to explain this. So I mentioned concerning, as for those people, I mentioned alim billah. A person who's a alim, he is an alim regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's one. So he knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and aware of the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second, alim billah is an alim billah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَيْسَ عَالِمْ بِأَمْرِ اللَّهِ. But he's not an alim regarding the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then I mentioned the third, alim بِأَمْرِ اللَّهِ, a person who he knows the instructions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَيْسَ عَالِمْ بِاللَّهِ, but he does not know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the ulama that mentioned concerning what is meant by this concern, the first group, what's the first group? alim billah wa alim bi amrillah. Nam, he says that a person alim billah, that he knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his affairs, with a person alim billah, that a person khaif min Allah, the person he has fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the person of khawf min Allah, that the person who's alim billah. So when I say alim billah, the person who what? Fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's qudra. Nam, alim bi amrillah, meaning concerning a person, he is an alim, he has knowledge of Allah concerning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislation, the Sunnah, wa Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hudud. So he knows the boundaries concerning the halal and the haram. So he knows the hudud of the halal and the halal and the haram. So he stays within those boundaries. So he's a person who's alim bi amrillah. So the person, he stays within those two, he fulfills those two criteria, that the person is a true alim. They mention alim billah, a person is alim billah, fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but laysa alim bi amrillah, but he doesn't per se know the clear boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding the hudud of the halal and the haram. Then he mentioned the third being the one, the alim bi amrillah, he knows the hudud, the boundaries, but he does not have khawf min Allah. Laysa alim, he doesn't know concerning the matter concerning how to the person to regarding fear, how to bring fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to himself and to others. Naam, so that's concerning the ulama of those three. And they mention concerning that the one who's a true alim is the one who's of alim billah wa bi amrillah. That the true alim is the one who's the alim billah of khawf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also can try to encourage this amongst others and direct people out to have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also that alim bi amrillah, that also he knows the boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and stay within those boundaries of the halal and the haram. So that's the true alim. And the others, they have their own degrees of shortcomings. Nam, as that person may be alim billah, but laysa alim bi amrillah. So he's afraid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he doesn't stay within, doesn't understand the boundaries. But as a person, he can protect himself, but doesn't have the details regarding the details of Islam, regarding the halal and the haram. And the third, the third one concerning that alim bi amrillah, he knows the boundaries, but doesn't know the of khawf min Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So generally concerned the alim that we're looking for, the one that he possesses those two main qualities. So with this, the ulama have mentioned concerning that is important, imperative, that a person can distinguish who is a true alim. And a true alim is the person, as we just can somewhat in generally just mention some description, but concerned that faqih, that alim, is concerned a person of arif, that a person of well grounded concerning the sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also known concerning the tawheed, concerning those things concerning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, concerning matter relating to at-tawheed. And also that alim, that also is a alim, that also he acts according to Islam. So it's a amil, alim, amil. So he knows, have knowledge, but also he himself, he applies those upon what he knows upon himself. So he acts according to Islam. So when you see him, you can see the signs of Islam in his dress, in his behavior, in his lifestyle. You can see that a person, he knows he's applying Islam upon himself first and foremost. So that's considered the person who's a true alim. And that's considered what is an anbiya, with anbiya, that they themselves, that they apply their own sharia. The anbiya, that they live according to what they say, what they preached. So the alim who's a successor, the alim who's an inheritor, then also he has to act upon what he knows. You have to act upon what he knows. And also that alim, that he knows can somewhat put things out to put things in their proper perspective and how to apply things to the people according to looking at what is suitable and how to go about taking that, bringing that matter to the people. So that's concerning the alim, the true alim, and the description of a true alim. We won't per se go into what the ulama or the fuqaha may discuss regarding what are those things that are expected from the alim regarding from a knowledge-based perspective, regarding what he needs to know and what he needs to have accomplished regarding his own study. Now, do we need to go through that? The body is stretching. So regarding concerning the ulama, I mentioned here there are two parts of the alim regarding his own actions and dedication to Islam, regarding that he himself applied Islam. Now, so you see him, you can see a person whom that you can say that's not that person, is like a reflection of the Anbiya regarding his, how he applies Islam. Because the Anbiya, that are the first thing that they were people whom that they acted according to their Sharia. So what they taught, they also applied. So the alim is expected the same thing, to be an example. And to be an example, you have to, as they say, you have to do what you preach. Or something of that meaning. Practice what you preach. Aywa. So that's expected from the alim. So also the alim is also expected to have certain type of knowledge base regarding that you have gone through a process of that you have been taught Islam. Nam? So you have known concerning a talab, that you have actually gone through the process of taking knowledge before in anything. Like if you go to any university, that a person who's the professor or teacher, he first went through a process of being a student and have gone through a process of being educated on certain things. So now he's able to now can pass on that information. Nam? So the same thing with Islam. So with this, they mention in by way of the books of Usul al-Fiqh regarding the alim, that he has to be, some will use the word, he has to be well-grounded, we use the word well-grounded, that he has, is well-grounded, where he have gone through studying the science concerning of those science, the science of the Quran and its related sciences. So the alim, regarding as a knowledge base, he has gone through studying the Quran and its related sciences. Nam? So of tafsir, which is the main of the main science, and also its related science concerning Ulum al-Quran. So he has studied those particular science of the Quran. Now we understand the meaning and the ahkam to be extracted from the ayat. So that's concerning from that Quran and its ulum. Also you have studied hadith and also its sciences, its ulum, the related subjects. Now, so you have to know concerning the I've gone through studying contrary to what we find today. That you find that unfortunately concerning most of the studies concerning hadith is related to is related to, which is good, beneficial, and as to a part of the process. So a lot of the science, Arba'in an-Nawawiyya, Umdat al-Ahkam, Ibn Qudama, and Bulugh al-Maram. But the alim goes beyond this. The alim, he goes beyond this. The ulama, as Ahmed Shakir rahimahullah, he mentioned, or it is stated, that he says concerning that, before himself and his brother Ahmed Shakir, one of the ulama of hadith and one of the Qudat of Egypt, half century back or so, that he and his brother Mahmoud Shakir, that they are from a family of people of ilm. And he mentioned concerning of the thing concerning of the part of their study program and what they went through, that he mentioned concerning he and his brother and others, that with their father and the likes, that they were not allowed to go into an area of speciality until after they have covered Kutub al-Sitta. So Kutub al-Sitta, Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawood, Masahi, At-Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, They have to cover those books before they start to go in an area of speciality. Most tulab don't do that today. Beyond, you understand, a person become alim, give fatwa on everything by just studying Bulugh al-Maram. But for them, the proper system, the person at least go through Kutub al-Sitta regarding hadith study. So he's familiar with the hadith in Kutub al-Sitta and also Muwatta Imam Malik. And also, we said related science concerning hadith regarding the person that is able to distinguish between hadith sahih and hadith ghayr sahih, hadith maqbul wa mardud. That either he's unable to do it himself, but he understands that science. And he knows the ulama of that science that he can rely upon, who are known to be meticulous and precise in that science. So if he's unable himself to fully do the work of grading hadith, but he's aware and familiar with the works of those people who are specialists in that field and meticulous that he can rely upon regarding their checking and cross-check between the ulama of that particular science. In today's time, in contemporary time, our time, you find that a person in hadith, in the science of hadith and the grading of hadith, a person like most who write today, that they rely only upon Shaykh Albani, and that's it. Their reference only goes to Shaykh Albani, and that's it. So you find that a book from beginning to end, Shaykh Albani said this, Shaykh Albani, which is Shaykh Albani, a reputable alim in that science. Not to degrade him, not to understand I'm trying to degrade Shaykh Albani rahimahullah. Clear? Again, clear? So no one says Omar, da 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 da. Now, but an example, but that person is a doctor, and he says a person who have some that person have some like efforts in hadith. So rather than comparing between the ulama hadith with Shaykh Albani and others, he just rely upon just one particular person as an example. Now, but rather than kind of somewhat compare, we might find in certain matters, that you find certain difference. But a person, they just rely upon one particular individual, and that's it. So the person, that alim, of the things concerning the knowledge based, that a person have to have that ilm of hadith, where he have actually read hadith, their explanation, and also able can make the distinction between those which is accepted and those which are not. Now, also that alim have to study concerning fiqh and its related science. He has to study fiqh and its related sciences. Usul al-fiqh, qawaid al-fiqhiyya, maqasid al-shar'iyya. These are the related science of fiqh. So the alim, he has to know fiqh in the sense of, to reach a true alim, that you have gone through, let's say, fiqh al-ala, or I mentioned today concerning fiqh al-maqarin, fiqh of comparative fiqh. We have gone through those books of ulama, they use a comparative form to see what have been said by the ulama of past, the ulama in general, what have been said about a matter, whether there's ijma or khilaf. And the areas of khilaf, you know the general, you know what have been said. Nam. So he has to be familiar concerns. So that's a part of the fiqh. And also, so he has to kind of somewhat read the books of the ulama who have written concerning, as they say, fiqh al-ala, that concern that ayah, that fiqh al-maqarin, that level of fiqh where there's a comparative form of fiqh. So you don't need to go to a familiar book concerning al-mughni, majmu', muhalla, and the likes. Nam. So the person has to have that type of, or have that access. More than access. He has to actually go through those works. Nam. And understand the language of those ulama in those books. Also concerning the thing that the person need regarding the related sciences, he asked, so I'm giving that we mentioned the related science of fiqh, which sometimes people do that concerning usul al-fiqh. Not just a study book, warakat, and that's it. So warakat is like a book, mukhtasar, very, like a beginner's book. So a person who study warakat, then you haven't, mashallah, jazakallah khair, you have just gone to primary level. That's all. You have graduated from primary school, but you haven't gone to secondary and high school and university yet with warakat. Clear? So the person studying certain books, it doesn't mean that you understand, you are the mufti because you study the primary level books. So the person has to know usul al-fiqh from the books of usul al-fiqh, to the different grades and levels. Also, the person will be familiar concerning the books concerning qawaid al-fiqhiyya, those books concerning qawaid al-fiqh and maqasid al-shar'iyya. So he has to know concerning what's the objective of the sharia and the goal of the sharia. So the person has to go through all of those works to be, we say, fully grounded, not somewhat a little bit unbalanced. So that's concerning fiqh and its related matters. They mentioned some ulama, they said that's concerning usul al-fiqh, which is referred to generally known as usul al-fiqh. But some of the ulama, when they refer to, when they wrote in writings of some of the ulama in fiqh, they call it usul without the word fiqh as a prefix, because they see what we refer to as usul al-fiqh, that it applies to all the science regarding how to comes to ruling. So this applies to hadith. How to understand hadith, you have to have usul al-fiqh. How to understand matters of aqidah, need to have some degree of usul al-fiqh. How to use the text, which is usul al-fiqh. How to use guidelines as to how to use the text in front of you. With me? So that's usul al-fiqh. When it is, if understood correctly, how to extract rulings from a linguistic, knowing nasikh wal mansukh, knowing aqwal of the ulama. So these are using the principle of usul al-fiqh to how to extract rulings. Type, how to use qiyas properly. So all of this is needed for a person when looking at a matter, especially concerning things that are newly occurring affairs and things that affect the ummah in general. The person has to have that background. Also the language, balagha, surf, nahu, badi', all of these various science of al-lugha. The person has to understand, because he's reading Lughat Arabiya, and every word is used a certain way and may have a certain meaning. And if not understood correctly, then it could change the entire meaning. So the person has to understand the language. We're not saying that be Sibaway, but the person has to be fully grounded in also in al-lugha and Arabiya, not English. So the person could have degrees in English, mashallah. If you don't have anything in Arabic, then you have nothing. So the person has to know the language of the Quran and the Sunnah, and the language of the ulama and Islam, which is Lughat al-Arabiya. So the person has to have these things with him. The person has to have all these things equipped with these things for him to can speak about matters concerning al-Islam. Also, it comes to the person also, Salam al-Ittiqad, those things also in place. So that's concerning perspective. Now, of today's time, al-akhirah, there is concerning kayfa ta'amul ma'al ulama, that in today's time, we find various words or vocabulary that are being used. They say sometimes mufakkir Islamiyya, that person is a da'i, and that person is a alim, and that person is a da'i. They say this one is a, what else? You know? So regarding these terms, regarding mufakkir, this person is a da'i, and that person is an alim. In reality, the alim, there's alim, and the alim is the da'i. The alim, in reality, is the da'i. Now, so to make I try to distinguish that you have a piece of people out there, the ulama, and next to the people that they are the duat, The alim is the da'i, is the asl of the du'at, is the main source of the du'at. Anyone who we use the word a talibul ilm and a da'i, they say da'i could mean the person may be known to be a talibul ilm, or could be a person who's he knows to give lectures, he's just a good speaker. So they say he's a da'i. A good speaker about Islam requires to be a talibul ilm, because he's talking about Islam and he has to know at least some of those things we just mentioned to some degree. Usul al-fiqh, qawaid al-fiqh, hadith, he has to have that background because he's talking about Islam. So the da'i, if we say he's not an alim in that case, he should be a person who's a talibul ilm. He should be a person who's a talibul ilm, that have a track record that the person have studied Islam to some degree, those various sciences that we just previously mentioned. Not the level of the alim, but to a level that is able to deliver correct information and precise information and understand the aqwal of the ulama and how to deliver it. So the da'i, the asl of the du'at, they are the ulama. Their students are, if we use the word, the tullabul ilm, and they are also a part of the du'at in their capacity. But if a person considers himself to be a da'i, meaning he is not a talibul ilm, then that is something which is foreign to Islam. That is something which is foreign to Islam. The person not a person not a talibul ilm, says that I'm not a talibul ilm, but I'm a da'i, that's something which is jadid. Something which is new. So the ulama, they are the ones who lead. As we mentioned, ittakhadha an-nas ruhusan, the people taking other people who are not qualified to lead people through. See, I have this thing like in Arab land, if a person like not known to be an alim, they say mufakkir al-kabir, that is like a Muslim thinker. And he's discussing about Islam, but he's not an alim, so what then is then? So because he's not known to have a track record in Islam, they can somewhat have used these different words, and all it does is confuse the people, And the alim is a person that, as mentioned, that he have a track record that he's known for ilm. It was said, Sunnah Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, إلى متى يكتب الرجل الحديث. Can I say something concerning the alim and his description and who we can take from? He mentioned إلى متى يكتب الرجل الحديث. Until when a person should stop writing hadith. Until when he should continue writing hadith. فقال حتى يموت. So a person is always in the path of certain. If a person, a true talibul ilm, is continuous in that path until he dies. Always seeking of ilm until death come upon him. So the alim doesn't have a break period where the retirement. There's no retirement for a true alim. So retirement age, when you're 60, you retire from ilm. There's no such thing for alim. You have certain countries that the mufti, he has to be below the age of 60. That's age of after 60, that's when he's deserving to be the mufti. Where he's set on his ways and his knowledge has now become a part of him. So the person who above 60, then that's when you're more at ease, you feel more confident taking from him. Because now he has gone through, so after 60, his knowledge become a part of him. Before that, sometimes he's more prone to change. If you look to the people today, let's say the du'at, the talabat al-ilm, the people who are more prone to change and criticism are a person who's below 60. The ones after 60, they're set in their ways regarding their ilm. There's nothing new. They just revise because they have taken in all their lives. So he mentioned concerning the persons that talibul ilm in truth, there's no holidays. There's no, he said, retirement. Hatta yamut. He's constantly in the path of ilm until he dies. So that's concerning, and you find concerning the ulama of past and the ulama that we are known, that there was not, even the ones of today. I asked Sheikh Albani, Sheikh Moshe, do you used to have holidays where you can somewhat drop all the books and no study and no teaching and no looking in the book? There's no such thing. So you find concerning a person who's at Talib al-Ilm, even the beginning stage, constantly every day try to read something, revise something, do something. Because of the sin that we have today, we have like university. Not to criticize university. We ourselves is a product of that, or partly. Nam, we meaning me. Clear? That universities today, Islamic university, that you can benefit from. They have summer breaks. Nam, but a Talib al-Ilm that summer break doesn't mean that you put away your books and you wait until you're on break for 2 months. There's no such thing for a Talib al-Ilm. The university on break, but you don't go on break. So if you see a person who, I'm a Talib in the path of Ilm, as an example. So he said, break time, he has a month break. And he hasn't read, revised, then that's not a true Talib al-Ilm. Because university go on break, it doesn't mean you go on break. Just as a person, a professor, university go on break, doesn't mean that he goes on break, he stops studying and revising and preparing. There's no such thing for the Talib al-Ilm. So based upon Ahmad rahimahullah, his statement mentioned, إلى متى يكتب الرجل حديث, he mentioned أتى يموت. So the Talib al-Ilm is constantly in that path. There is no break. Naam. And I mentioned other things. أنا أطلب العلم إلى أن أدخل الماء الخبر. That imam of the statement of Ahmad rahimahullah that he mentioned concerning, that's the sign of the true alim. They mentioned أنا أطلب العلم حتى إلى أن أدخل الخبر. That I am constantly in the path of seeking ilm until I enter the grave. So that's concerning of the sifat, concerning the alim is constantly involved in studying of Islam, in various science and the likes. So you find those people who are not of that sifat, then they're not deserving of the true title of the ulama. Also of the thing concerning that we might skip certain matters. Then of the thing concerning of regarding the ulama and our relationship, the relationship with the ulama, of something that is important and vital regarding that one, we have respect for the ulama. It's a part of our deen that we should respect our ulama. Now, in a sense that what they carry with Quran or Sunnah Islam, so respect them for this. Now, regardless of their age, the fact that they are a person of ilm, then they are respected based upon what they carry, what they bear with them, which is Islam, and the efforts that they have put their time and their life in Sunnah Islam. So respect them for this. More so, we're talking to the alim of the Sunnah. Now, so with this, we respect them of ihtiram towards the ulama, in the sense that we do not speak ill about them, we do not bite them, attack them, follow their errors. That's not the way of respect. Even if we differ, if we have difference with them, we don't per se belittle them in the eyes of the people and call them names. That's not respect. Nam. And also as a part of, because of the ulama, of respecting them and honoring them. Nam. That of the ulama concerning information that have come to us about them that is correct, that is beneficial for others, that we can somewhat try to spread this amongst the people. So there's books that are beneficial, that may be suitable to the people, that we spread those books amongst the people. And their tapes that are suitable to the people, we can somewhat try to be a part of spreading that information. Nam. Another thing they mentioned concerning al-hadar min qad fil ulama. That other thing with this discussion is regarding, we respect them, and a caution regarding al-qadh fil ulama. that people who try to attack the ulama and to belittle the ulama and to disgrace the ulama, that's not the simat of a person of the Sunnah. That's not the way of the people of the Sunnah, that we are people that we attack the ulama and we belittle them. So I mentioned, you have the people, they go overboard. That some of that approach, and that concerns the people who usually attack the ulama, isqat ulama, are people whom that, they're from Ahlul Bidah wal Ahwa. If a person who's the one who's supposed to be a person who take care of his deen. And from this, the ulama have mentioned, regarding concerning of honoring the ulama and their place in Islam. Ibn Ma'in, rahimahullah, he says, إذا رأيت رجل يتكلم في حماد ibn Salama والإكرمة مولى ibn Abbas فاتهمه على Islam. If you see a person, also if you see people who are attacking the ulama, and this case you mentioned, Yahya ibn Ma'in mentioned, if you see a person يتكلم and he's speaking in a way, speaking ill of the likes of Hamad ibn Salama wa Ikramah Mawla ibn Abbas, meaning some of the kibar ulama of their time. You see a person speaking ill of those people, فَهْتَمْهُ, then you should attack that person, be careful of that person. Be careful of that individual. So you find a person that is very complacent, he finds pleasure in attacking the ulama and the tulab al-ilm, then be careful of that individual. Because he's diminishing that mansib, that position. And if a person who is easy with this, then you find that in general he has no respect for the ulama in general. He may claim this, but in reality he does not. So the person, if you may disagree, then at least in certain cases, then uskut. Do not say anything. Man yu'min billah wal yawm al-akhir فَلَيَقُولَ خَيْرًا أَوْ يَصْمُتْ. If you a person believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala last day, either you say that which is good or you remain silent, especially regarding the ulama. Regarding the ulama, the person try to say a thing which is either good in a balanced way, or the person, if you ever say things in a balanced way, but without being, when a person, if you want to disagree, without attacking and belittle and try to diminish the ulama in the eyes of the people and attack them with all various forms of accusations. This is not the way of Ahlul Sunnah. So in ta'amul mal ulama, respect, yes, sometimes may disagree with an alim, that's there, based upon dalil, not based upon hawa. But a person, especially concerning the alim of the Sunnah, if one always try to not go overboard regarding saying things that in the eyes of the people may diminish concerning that mansib, that position of the people of ilm. Where the person generally they start to belittle the people of ilm. And apply this about a person might attack one individual and people attack everyone. Because of one attacking one particular alim, the people might see that it becomes an open field to attack every one of the ulama. Naam. So that's the thing that the ulama, they caution us regarding this. As Imam Dahbi rahimahullah, when the statement was mentioned, Imam Dahbi rahimahullah, with a person concerned that a ulama who's munsif. Imam Dahbi rahimahullah, those people concerned alim of jar wa ta'dil, and rijal wa tarikh, and Islam, and of many books that he have written that discuss concerning ulama. When the statement was mentioned that we have just read by Yahya ibn Ma'in regarding Ikramah wa Ahmad, he mentioned as that kind of somewhat, he mentioned وَهَذَا مَحْمُولٌ عَلَى وَقِيعٍ فِيهِمَا. He said this is to be understood regarding speaking about the ulama, those two particular individuals concerning, is to be taken and understood in the light of if waqi', the person attacking them. So the person who's attacking them, belittling them, throwing false accusation about them, then if the person is doing it in that regards, then that applies to them. Then be wary of that person. Nam. Then he mentioned that هذا محمول على وقيع فيهما يعني حماد بن السلمة والإكرمة بهوى والحيف في وزنهما. So that is to be if the person who's attacking them this is done based upon our desires. or it is based upon hif concerning, it is done concerning that a person being unjust regarding their position and their place, fi waznihima, regarding their position and their place and their status. وأما من نقل ما قيل في جاهما أو تعديلهما وتعديلهما على الإنصاف فقد أصاب. They mention that if a person who is saying certain things about them regarding jar or ta'dil, but is based upon fairness and justice, the person is being fair and just. Now, so his criticism is based upon fairness and justice, not just wanting to attack, then this can be looked at. With me? So a person a person, either when he speaks about ulama, he may be discussing a particular matter based upon what is maybe something taking place that is there, but he's doing it in a fair, balanced approach. Not just wanting to attack the person on a personal level or in an unjust way. So it did not matter. This is the issue, and this is what we're discussing, is it right and wrong based upon da-da-da. So he's doing it in a mature, fair, ilmiya approach. But a person does that person da-da-da-da. He's dull, he's jahil. Who is he? And the person that he's talking about, a person who's known for ilm and the likes, is known for the sunnah, then that's unjust and unfair. What you accuse him of, you can't explain what you accuse him of. Naam? So that's concerning that particular matter regarding al-hadar min waqi' fil ulama rahimahullah. So you find that people that they attack the ulama and easily attack the ulama, as we find today that a person, the ulama, the tulab al-ilm al-kibar, that we find that with the people today, some of the people, they show no honor and respect to the people of ilm. So today they see that alim is with you, and he's treated with mashallah, with karam, with respect, with great titles, driven around in Rolls Royce, given 5-star hotel. Nam, he's Sheikh al-Allama. Then tomorrow you may disagree with him, you may say something that you may not per se agree with, then he's become man hadha. Huwa saqit, is dropped. Ibta'id anhu, leave him alone. Laysa ahad ma'hu, there's no one with him but himself. But yesterday, mashallah, he was mashallah. Today he is a'udhu billah. What's this? So that shows that you find that this become a trend with some. And it shows concern the person regarding ilm, the people of knowledge, he doesn't per se know how to deal with them. So that's concerning al-hadar min that particular matter. Also al-hadar min taqatti al-ulama bighayr ilm, that people who wants to correct the ulama but without ilm. You want to say this alim is in error, he make error in this and this, but you yourself is not of a person of ilm, or a person who can look at that matter in a thorough way, in a proper way. So a person wish to highlight errors of an alim and correct him, and you yourself is not of a person who is that mutamakin, a person who is that grounded yourself. Understand the point? So that's also, I think, that they mentioned concerning that. That's not the way of the people of Sunnah. We always correct, we always trying to point out the faults of the ulama, and then try to correct them. And ourselves are not people at that level. Naam? So that's something that one should be mindful of concerning the person who is trying to correct, but he himself is not known for ilm. It's mentioned by Imam al-Zahabi rahimahullah, mentioned كنا في مجلس أبي خنب, so mentioned it was in a majlis of one of the أبي خنب فأملى في فضائل علي رضي عنه بعد أن كان أملى فضائل الثلاثة. So he said that someone mentioned concerning Abu Kamil al-Basri that he had heard from some of the Mashaykh that, that they were in a majlis of this alim, Abi Khanbin, and he was like narrating, explaining concerning matters relating to the Fadahil of Ali ibn Abi Talib. But before, he had mentioned previously the Fadahil of the Thalatha, meaning Abu Bakr, Umar and Uthman. Right? So previous sittings, he already discussed matters relating to those four khulafa, those three khulafa. But in this particular one, he was talking about Ali. So someone came in, إِذْ قَامَ Abu Fadl Sulaymani. So a person who was there, name is Abu Sulaiman, Abu Fadl Sulaymani. Fasaha. Ayyuhan, so he got up and shouting, Ayyuhan nas, O people, Hada Dajjal. Kalam Marufa. Say to this person, so the person, the Shaykh there, giving his lesson, talking about the virtue of Ali. So the person just came in what's going on, not understanding what have transpired before. Nam. So, starting now to accuse that alim. So he said, no, Ya ayyuhan nas, Hada Dajjal, that alim is that Dajjal. La taktubu, do not write from him. Kharaja min majlis, they said they left his majlis. لأنه سمع فضائل الثلاثة لأنه ما سمع بفضائل الثلاثة. He said he left because he was upset, attacked that person because he didn't hear what was mentioned before. That he already discussed the virtue of Ali, so he thought the person was like a Shia Rafida. With me? So he's speaking only about Ali. Where about the others? Not understanding what went before. And sometimes that's the problem we have today. We attack the people of ilm, not understanding truly what their efforts and what they have done. And sometimes we may hear one thing, not understanding that maybe there's some explanation, further explanation that we haven't heard. So hearing just one bit, it may seem a certain way, but we need to hear fully what they have said. And that's what we find today. So rather than a person, so you find, for example, an alim, you might hear something that he said, but rather than taking everything in its full context, knowing what he's known for, what he may have said before, we take one thing and we use it against him. And that's of the errors that sometimes we fall into. So that's concerning, I mentioned concerning ta'awun al-ulama, not to take that. Let's try to get, I said, get all the pieces of the puzzle together, then after then we can speak knowing the full picture of things. Then Imam Dhahab rahimahullah, he commented on what the commented on this qissa, this particular story mentioned. هذا يدل على زعارة سليماني. زعارة Sulaymani concerned this concerned like the word Zahara concerned that the person was like his malicious attack on that person. He was someone acting in a malicious way. Nam, because he jumped to conclusion not knowing the full story. So he became malicious, he attacking him. Hada Dajjal. When a person a Dajjal, not knowing the full story, that's harsh. Ancient concerns Sulaymani, وغلطه, and also it can say his harshness. غلطة. So they had that غلة, where he became too harsh, and sometimes that's all what we have a trend among some. A trend among some. So you might find an alim known for the Sunnah, but with every person can make mistake. But he may make a mistake, and the person is like anta dajjal. La taktubu anhu. As the person mentioned, don't listen to him, don't write on him, don't take from him. Why? Is there anyone who do not make mistake except for Anbiya? So that's concerning that particular matter concerning in ta'amul al-ulama, not to be malicious, not to be quick to jump to conclusion, not getting the full story, not be quick to try to point out errors and try to correct, not knowing the full side, and also ourselves not being fully equipped to measure and to know whether the person actually is right or wrong. Not being fully equipped for this. Also the points regarding concerning ta'amul al-ulama, that ulama of Ahlul Sunnah, that are known for the Sunnah, spreading the Sunnah with Tawheed. As we mentioned concerning this Ummah, that we consider Ulama to be the best amongst us, as they are the Warath al-Anbiya. So with this, that whenever possible, without going overboard also. So whenever possible, iltimas al-udhr lil ulama, that we try to put forth some form of excuse for the ulama when possible. Without going to, we'll go overboard in trying to give excuses. With me? So whenever possible, then we try to iltimas, give some form of excuse for the alim before, but also not go overboard in giving excuses. We come with something which is, it doesn't per se go down well. That excuse is just, it's too much. But in general concern that the person always try to, if possible, put forth an excuse for the ulama, as they are the people of ilm. As mentioned by many of the ulama, Umar ibn Khattab, they mentioned concerning that Ibn Kilaba, as mentioned by Umar ibn Khattab, لا تظن بكلمة خرجت من أخيك مسلم سوء وأنت تجده فيه خير محملة. So Umar ibn Khattab رضي he mentioned that regarding لا تظن بكلمة خرجت من أخيك Muslim, that if you were to hear something from your brother, or not to have like bad thoughts about what have come to your attention from your brother that he has said, and if you are able to find an excuse for him, then give him that excuse. So if you are able to give some excuse, if something a person has said that you might take to be a little bit inappropriate or incorrect, then try to see if there's an excuse for him, if possible. If possible. So you should have that kind of samaha between ourselves, and more so giving it to the ulama. More so to the people of ilm, I said, the people of the Sunnah. And also mentioned by Muhammad ibn Sirin rahimahullah, mentioned إذا بلغك أن أخيك شيء فالتمس له عذرا فإن لم تجد فقل لعل له عذر. So Ibn Sirin rahimahullah, he mentioned that if something has come to your attention from your brother, that if you're able to give him an excuse, meaning if something comes to your brother which is somewhat negative, that you can per se put forth an excuse for him, then and if not, try to give him an excuse, and if not, you're unable to give an excuse, then then just say maybe there's some form of error, that some form of excuse, some other way that he may be excused. So always trying to somewhat give excuse. I would say this is more so for the ulama, more so for the ulama. And also of the things that we want to mention, that of the thing that we find also of today concerning, they accuse the ulama concerning that the ulama, that they do not know fiqh al-waqi', or don't know the waqi', that alim, he knows, and that particular person, he doesn't know, or one person knows, and that person doesn't know. So concerning the Ahlul Sunnah, that this is an accusation that some of the people, they try to put forth regarding that person is aware of things, and that person's an alim, but he doesn't know what's going on. That type of thing also, we should try to avoid that type of statement. How do we know that alim does not know? That's number one. To say alim fulan doesn't know what's going on. You know. No, not you, per se. Yeah? Clear? So the person who's accusing that an alim about a matter which is sharia, that may be taking place, what's going on, you know, but he doesn't know, and he's an alim. Why you believe, what knowledge you have to say that he doesn't know? Understand the question? How are you going to accuse a person that he doesn't know something? How do you come to that conclusion? How do you know? How can you say that alim about a matter with Islam that may be going on in the dunya? You know from some corner that no one knows, but alim, he doesn't know. He doesn't know the waqi', but you know the waqi'. You know what's going on. Why you listen to BBC more often than anyone else? So the question is, how can you affirm that that person does not know what you know? As they say, Adam al-ilm laysa ilm Adam. Because one person, Adam al-ilm, because you do not know, doesn't mean that another person doesn't know. Others do not have information about that thing. So the thing is that of this thing that people, they try to put over, and kalam which is said, gharib, if you are claiming that person who's an alim, and most of the time the alim he doesn't know because he's saying things that you disagree with. That's the real crux of the matter. So the only way they can somewhat try to give a diplomatic excuse for the alim, they say he doesn't know what's going on. Because in reality, they do not agree with what his view on the matter. With me? So they kind of somewhat trying to be diplomatic. So they said, he doesn't know. Give me, how do you know that he does not know? Bring me a proof regarding what you're claiming. Now, so this is a statement that sometimes is used by some. Okay. Now, so that's concerned those matters that one should be careful of regarding this matter, these things being said and being thrown at the ulama. And next matter regarding ta'awun al ulama, as I mentioned concerning that, ihtiram al ulama, bidun ta'asub. Ihtiram, we have respect for the ulama, when possible, spreading their books according to ability, their statements, letting the people know what the ulama they can refer back to, as they are kind of some of the main reference point for us regarding clarity with dalil, that of the things concerning that, having that respect, but also without per se going to having this ta'asub and the taqleed of the ulama. So respect doesn't mean, because I respect the person, I have to take everything that you say. And not to have any person, not to be indifferent to the person in any way or form. That doesn't mean that's not respect. Now, that's going overboard. So the ulama do not, as we mentioned concerning the ulama per se, don't per se ask the people to have that ta'asub towards them, nor to make taqleed of them in everything. Now, so this is considered the thing that we should be mindful of regarding ta'awun al-ulama. That respect doesn't negate that type of taqleed that a person thinks you have to respect them, meaning you have to have taqleed towards them or ta'assub towards them. That's not the case. Al-ma'asum anbiya. Al-isma lil-anbiya. As for the ulama, that they can make errors. Nam. But the person should not per se understand that respect of the ulama equates ta'assub wa taqleed of the ulama, as done of past and still continue up until today. Nam. And taqleed instead the person, like in anything concerning madhahib or anything concerning the person regarding alim fulan, the person will not go outside his particular views or ideas or his ruling, right or wrong, whether he has dalil or no dalil. Or you would not perceive a matter arise, you will ask, before you take a view, ask, your view will be, what's the view of my alim? With me? That's ta'assub wa taqleed al-ama. You do not go outside the view of that particular alim in any matter. We ask a question, will be, like we said, as in the madhahib, what's the view if I'm Shafi, what's the view of Imam Shafi? That's all I want to know, nothing else. Or if I'm Hanbali, the same thing. Or if that's a Hanafi view, because I'm Hanafi and I would not care about what anyone else has to say, then that's not the correct way regarding ihtiram al-ulama, that people sometimes perceive that at the level of Taqleed and Ta'asub is a part of ihtiram lil ulama. And that's not the case. Also, next matter regarding ta'amul al ulama, how to approach dealing with the ulama, kalam al aqran. Concerning al ulama, sometimes between themselves, bashar, that things may come between the ulama, that sometimes they may say and have disagreement between themselves. They may have disagreement between themselves. What we just said?
They may have disagreement between themselves. Like,
okay, Jade, you're with me. But what? So those matters where you find a disagreement become concerned, a disagreement regarding concern that sometimes may go into become somewhat where they might say things that are not befitting about each other's. With me? So that sometimes they may say things that one have to be careful regarding passing on that information and relating those information to others. Because sometimes ulama bashar, and sometimes they might have sometimes harsh words against each other. So we're saying that in the context, listen to what I say and pass it on as I say it, in the context of the ulama of Sunnah. In context of the ulama of Sunnah, sometimes we have disagreement and sometimes certain things might be said in a harsh way. Aisha, when she mentioned concerning that, those of the concern other of the companions who mentioned concerning the Prophet that he saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his eyes. She used afterwards, man iftara, man qala al-kadhib, the person who have lied. Those are like harsh words, isn't it? And the person he's talking about, another companion who may take a different view. But we don't use her statement to attack the other companion and vice versa. With me? So we kind of somewhat measure those statements and put it in some form of perspective. So the same to the ulama of every generation, not just our generation, but also generation of the past and also generation in the future. That sometimes words sometimes are used are a bit harsh between some of the ulama when they have certain difference between themselves. So regarding those matters, and more so regarding the matter of ijtihadiyya, that as ulama mentioned concerning kalam al-aqran min al-ulama, they mentioned kalam al-aqran fi ba'd, concerning when you have that things that are said between the ulama, between amongst themselves, yutwa wala yurwa. Yutwa wala yurwa. Meaning yutwa, that these matters we try to conceal them. Don't publicize everything. So we find a difference that become too harsh between the ulama. Now, if we know of it, it may be said, yes, the alim, fulan, alim A, did say those words against fulan, alim B. It's there. Some people may be aware, but it doesn't mean because it was said, it means it needs to be what? Publicized. So sometimes maybe need to be, we said yutwa, mean to be concealed. With me? And also wala yurwa, and also it is not per se narrated and spread amongst the people. Because sometimes the people might lose confidence in the ulama. Look at that alim. Look at he's speaking about another alim. And there's going to be people of adab and people who are supposed to be the best amongst us. That, you with me? So the person has totally dropped out of the ulama. Because maybe of certain statements said, and alim sometimes get angry. And sometimes maybe the person who have gone against him, he wants to be firm against him. To show that you know that view is somewhat off in his view. So he used kind of somewhat stern words. So we understand that it's just him trying to make, try to, in a severe way, caution against, but we have to take it where it needs that information, everything needs to be spread and taken to, as they say, to the public. So in our time, we have to be mindful of this qaida. Internet, Twitter, Facebook, not everything that is said by the ulama, that we have to, in concern matter of ijtihad, that we have to maybe understand, maybe for it meant in certain contexts, to a certain group of people. So not everything that is said, it is to be spread amongst everyone. But that they require concerning true talibul ilm to know what to put out and what to hold back. Take a person of ilm, true talibul ilm with ikhlas, to know what to put out and what not to put out. Bismillah, in continuing concerning that discussion concerning that matter that sometimes that may occur between the ulama that try to kind of somewhat be mature and also with ilm, kind of somewhat out, what to put out and what not to put out. Because of various reasons that one needs to take into consideration. Another thing is that sometimes occur between the ulama, we want to become just and try to be fair regarding things that sometimes may occur between ulama, wujud al-munafisa, that sometimes the ulama, sometimes I find between some of the ulama, between some of the ulama, concerning munafasa, that sometimes I have some matter said that they have their own differences between themselves. You might find another alim who said may not get along. You might have some of the personal issues or issues between each other. So that sometimes may play a part concerning that. So sometimes that an alim, sometimes there's certain things might affect the person due to, you might have some difference between themselves or dispute, where sometimes that you are speaking, or could be sometimes that you are speaking another alim, you are speaking about matters, but you are not a specialist in that area. So maybe a person, for example, alim A is a specialist in hadith, and alim B is not a specialist in hadith, but he's saying certain alim A, who is a specialist in hadith, may know that what you're saying is not that you're speaking about things that you shouldn't be speaking of, because maybe not your takassus, not your area of specialization. So may have a little thing, because you're speaking about my field, speak about your own field, our area of specialization. You understand? Not enter into another area where you might somewhat say things that may not be that as precise. So you might have those things that may come between individuals. With me? Also, of cases regarding concerning that may occur, why might have the difference concerning al-ghadab al-shadid, an alim will mention, sometimes an issue might arise and he might owe that view to the other alim might mention, it might be something which is, the view may be a bit, way out. So it became a little bit, irate, and when he gave his, what he had to say, it came out in a very harsh way. With me? So sometimes those things, it came out of a time where he was himself a little bit upset. So it came out in a harsh way. And I mentioned a lot of times that you find that sometimes things come out, sometimes there are said in a harsh way is due to sometimes the alim at that time maybe you're a little bit upset, not that settled. Now, to mention that sometimes asking questions to an alim where he's not per se relaxed, be careful. He might not give you the full attention, to what is being said. Him himself is not relaxed, so sometimes he may be a bit. So if he's upset, not settled, then don't per se question him. Or he's busy doing something, you can't put a question to him, and he's busy doing his own something else. He may not give you the full attention you're deserving. I might distract him and just give you a quick answer, boom. Or say something that sometime might not come up, may not come out that may come up not that pleasant. With me? Iktilaf al-Mahdabi also sometimes due to why an alim might say things which is a little bit harsh about another alim, sometimes between Ahlul Sunnah regarding Iktilaf al-Mahdabi. That in certain they might have a particular view, have a particular stance or a view on a particular issue, and a person who take a different stance, he can somewhat deal with in a harsh way. Example, after Ulama of contemporary time, some old concerning, for example, Tariq salat, that a person who, the person concerning one who concerning wearing of niqab, covering of the woman's face, it is wajib. And others may hold that it's not wajib. With me? So the one who mentioned that the people who say it is wajib, they say your people are mutashaddid. Why are you making things difficult on the people by making them cover say it's a must for them to cover their face? That's the tashaddud. Because his method is that it's not wajib. And the one who said it is wajib, he's saying that the one who say covering the face that you are and kind of be concerning also for concerning you're opening for people to expose themselves. The woman to expose herself, because you're saying that she should uncover her face, that's a part of the thing that to be covered. Why are you telling the people to expose themselves to the people? You with me? So both are using harsh words that may be taken as harsh based upon their madhab. With me? So sometimes it may have those factors need to be taken into consideration. So those are reasons why sometimes when a difference occurs between ulama, that we have to look at the matter thoroughly. And certain words that I use, do we need to bring this, put the information out or not put it out? That needs people who are equipped to have that level of hikmah and knowing concerning masalih wal mafasid. Also another matter concerning, in looking at matters between the ulama, more so matters where there's a khilaf between the ulama. So also, ta'amul al-ulama, min deen al-ulama, respecting of the ulama, that also things to bear in mind, and our relation with the ulama is regarding that we try to be having insaf wal-adl fi hukum ala al-mujtahideen. That the ulama, when they have made their ijtihad in matters, that we try to, when we look at it, be fair and just and balanced. So a matter, the alim have his ijtihad. Alim have looked at the matter and have come to a conclusion, come to a ruling based upon what he have researched and how he understand the matter. But he comes to a conclusion. Now, we might have others who may come to a different conclusion or have a different opinion based upon their study and their research, that they have come to a different conclusion. So the person looking in or looking on to that discussion between the ulama, that if you may take that the person have to be somewhat try to be balanced and be fair in how one deal with the situation. With me? When a person is concerned that if he may agree with one, then be careful of throwing wild accusation at the other, who you may not agree with that view.
فإن آمنوا بمثل ما آمنتم به فقد اهتدوا وإن تولوا فإنما هم في شقاق